Wanderer of the Wasteland, Chapter 11, Part 3. The days passed, and few they were that did not seem to Adam to go out in sweet, cool dawn when the east glowed like an opal, to climb the bronze slope, sure-footed as a goat, up and over the bare ridges and through the high ravines, where the lichens grew and a strange pale flower blossomed, on and on over the jumble of weathered rocks to the heights. And there he would face the east with its glorious burst of golden fire and spend the last of that poignant gaze on the sunrise-crowned glory of old Picacho. The look had the meaning of a prayer to Adam, yet it was like a blade in his heart. In that look he remembered his home, his mother, his brother, and the vivid days of play and love and hope, his fateful journey west, his fall, his crime, and his ruin. Alone on the heights, he forced that memory to be ever more vivid and torturing. Hours he consecrated to remorse, to regret, to suffering, to punishment. He lashed his soul with bitter thoughts, lest he forget and find peace. Life and health and strength had returned to him in splendid growing measure, which he must use to pay his debt. But there were other hours. He was young, red-blooded, and that throbbed in his veins, and action sent that blood in a flame over his eager body. To stride along the rocky heights was something splendid. How free and alone. It connected Adam's present hour with a remote past he could not comprehend. He loved it. He was proud that the Indians called him Eagle, for to watch the eagles in their magnificent flights became a passion with him. The great blue condors and the grizzly vultures and the bow-winged eagles all were one and the same to him, indistinguishable from one another as they sailed against the sky, sailing so wondrously, with never a movement of wings, or shooting across the heavens like thunderbolts, or circling around and upward to vanish in the deep blue. There were moments when he longed to change his life to that of an eagle, to find a mate, a nest on a lofty crag, and there, ringed by the azure world above and with the lonely barren below, live with the elements. Here on the heights, Adam was again visited by that strange sensation, inexplicable and elusive and fast fleeting, which had been born in him one lonely hour in the desert below. Dismukes had told him how men were lured by the desert, and how they all had their convictions as to its cause, and how they missed the infinite truth. "It will come to me," cried Adam as he faced the cool winds. Stalking mountain sheep upon the mighty slopes was work to make a man. It was a wild and perilous region of jagged ridges and hair slants and loose slopes of weathered rocks. The eyes of the sheep that lived at this height were like telescopes. They had the keenest sight of all wild beasts. The marvelous organ of vision stood out on the head as if it were the half of a pear, so that there was hardly an angle of the compass toward which a sheep could not see. Like the antelope, mountain sheep were curious and could be lured by a bright color and thereby killed. But Adam learned to abhor this method. He pitted his sight and his strength and endurance against those of the sheep. In this way he magnified the game of hunting. His exhaustion and pain and peril he welcomed as lessons to the end that his knowledge and achievement must be in a measure what Dismukes might have respected. Failure to Adam was nothing but a spur to renewed endeavor. The long climb, the crumbling ledge, the slipping rock, the deceitful distance, the crawl over sharp rocks, and hours of waiting. These too he welcomed as one who had set himself limitless tasks. Then, when he killed a ram and threw it over his shoulder to carry it down the mountain, he found labor which was harder even than the toil of the gold mill at Picacho. To stride erect with a rifle in one hand and hold upon a heavy sheep with the other down the slippery ledges, across the sliding slants over the cracked and rotten lava from the sunset-lighted heights to the gloomy slopes below. This was how, in his own estimation, he must earn and keep the respect of the Indians. They'd come to look upon the white man they called Eagle. They looked up to him. He taught them things to do with their hands, the work of white men, which bettered their existence, and he impressed them with the more by his mastery of some of their achievements. End of Chapter 11, Part 3.